So welcome to this very random video. For some reason I just decided, you know what, why don't I show off my music collection? Because I do music reviews, not very often. You know, I collect physical music and video games and all that stuff, so, you know, I might as well make a video and you might be interested in what I have to offer. So very recently I started collecting vinyl, because why not? And so the first two ones I got here are Patrick Alavi's Power and Tribute, and they're just singles really, some remixes basically, but not a whole lot. Some remixes, but generally it's more about the single that's on it. Sounds good, so I'm not complaining. That's basically it really. They both came out in 2005. Maybe one day I'll get more records from him because they sound pretty good. I also happen to own one other record, which is this, I don't know, Cleric X Dax J, which is with Lost in Bermuda, which is the album, that's the name of it. And well, it's a techno album. If you like techno, you're probably gonna like that. It was released recently, and I'm not sure if there's a version out there with like an actual slip, but this is just a generic sleeve. Sounds good anyway. Yeah, it was released 2 years ago, so yeah. Now we move on to more familiar territory, compact disc. And so we're going to start off with the more miscellaneous albums, I guess. Stuff that I don't like collect as like artist sort of thing. So we have these two Lemon Jelly albums, which I only picked up recently. This one is Lost Horizons, and it came out before 6495 did, and they're both kind of experimental. If you know anything about Lemon Jelly, you know that the music they put out's pretty strange, let's put it that way. Moving to the opposite side of the camera, we have Paul Rich live at Green and Blues 10th anniversary. It's a mix of Paul Rich's music. Again, it's techno, so if you like techno, you probably know Paul Rich is prominent artist. And one day I'll have a listen because I do like his music, so probably enjoy it. I don't know why I haven't opened it yet. I bought it probably about a month ago. Yeah, I think it was 2010, 2012. Finally, we have these two weird CDs without any kind of covers or anything. So again, this is Patrick Alavi's Power, but on a CD. I don't know if it's a promotional thing or not, but I don't believe this ever came in some sort of actual jewel case, so yeah, it's on a CD. That was pretty cool. And then this is Sirkin Silver Island. A weird, probably never heard of it. I got it for this one song fan out. It's not even a song, it's more house music, kind of like Patrick Alavi is. It was released in 2010. What is there to say? It's just a generic rapper and CD, but it sounds pretty cool. Have a listen to it sometime. Moving into significantly more familiar territory, we have Daft Punk. I know I only reviewed Random Access Memories, but I've owned these two CDs for very many years now. This is Homework. Really awesome album. I still think it's my favorite Daft Punk album to this day. It was released in 1997, and it remains incredible. I think it's a great house album. I mean, geez, if you haven't listened to it yet, I don't know. Then we have Discovery. It sort of came out like as a follow-up, I guess. Let's call it a follow-up. It's mainly house. It has a few of the huge hit songs from its time, like One More Time. It's a good album. I think in terms of ratio of the songs I like to which ones I don't like, I think it's a little bit worse, but it still has some very good tunes on it, so can't really complain. I believe it was released in 2000 or 2001. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good album. And then we have Random Access Memories, which I talked about back when it was new. I reviewed it. I don't remember what I said. I probably thought it was quite good. I still think it's quite good. It has some excellent tunes on it. I won't go into detail, but have a listen to it, and you're bound to like something, you know. And I should probably point out the obvious absence of Human After All, and that's mainly because I thought that album was shit, so I didn't bother getting it. This probably came as absolutely no surprise to some of you, but there you go, the Deadmau5 collection. Over the years, since about 2010, I've been hunting down pretty much all physical audio of Deadmau5. And yeah, most of it I like, and the couples I don't think are very great. We'll start at the top left, so random album title. Well, if you haven't listened to that already, I think you just need to leave, because it's, you know, despite it being his third album, I still think it's his best, like by far. Really, by far. It's pretty much flawless. He does his progressive house style so well, and it sounds so good. It's still so great 10 years later. Can't go wrong. Next we have, well, I should probably mention that, yeah, it was released in 2008. That was when he was starting to get big. Probably a little later after that, after Ghosts and stuff. And next we have For Lack of a Better Name. Thing is that these sort of middle albums, like For Lack of a Better Name and 4x4 equals 12, they kind of, they're like, I don't know, they're not as good. Let's put it that way. They're not as good as when I first got them. But they're okay. They have some good tunes on it. Obviously, Strobe and Ghosts and stuff. A few others in there. Haven't listened to these albums fully for probably about like a couple years at most. In the middle of these two is Melee Fresh, is how you pronounce this, versus Deadmau5 in this At Play series. I'm not totally sure what At Play is. It's sort of like these mashup albums with like weird tunes or collabs he's made with other people. There's like 5 volumes, I believe, official volumes, and then you have like a few ones like this. I'm not the biggest fan of this album. It is by far the most explicit album I own. And if you've listened to any of the tracks with these two collabs, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Not a huge fan. I generally don't like listening to it. Then we have this. I guess it's like a DVD, because I haven't actually looked at it. I bought it when it was new, and it's his Meowington Sax 2011 Toronto tour. It's probably on it's like a DVD or something. I'm not sure. Not sure what's on it, but from what other people have said, it's pretty awesome. So one day I'll have to actually watch it or listen to it or whatever. Next is album title goes here. It's pretty good. It's hard to say where I think it belongs. Has some good tunes on it. Actually, I think it kind of brings back the old style in terms of his methodical approach to like house or whatever. Good tunes on it. Has some pretty bad ones, but overall, I actually think it's better than 4x4 equals 12. I think 4x4 is probably his worst studio album, actually, and it was kind of hard debating. But I think after all this time, that's my general opinion now. My final whatever. And then we have While One is Less Than Two. It's actually pretty awesome. It's by far his longest album. Comes on 2 CDs. And I think when it was released at the time, it was kind of mixed, actually. I think more people were content with Album Title Goes Here, and less people were content with While One is Less Than Two. Even though it has a lot of awesome tracks like Info Turbo Kart Racers. Oh my god, the name is confusing. Phantoms Can't Hang. Avartia. This is some really awesome tunes and a few like mashups. A couple, not too many. But it's a very long album. I believe it's like 2.5 hours. It's really good. There's certainly something for everybody in there. And I think it's really well crafted. Actually, out of all the more recent ones, I think it's very good. And then we have 5 Years of Mouse, which is really just a sort of a compilation. There's two CDs. The first CD contains like basically the tracks you know from the past, from all the albums, random album title, 4x4, basically the main albums. And then the second half contains like remixes. So, I mean, if that's your thing, cool. I've listened to it a few times. It's not bad, but you've heard it all before, so it's nothing special really. Then we have the one I reviewed, the W2016 album. The more I think about it, the more, like, the songs I didn't like, I think I like even less now, and the songs I liked back then, I think I like even more, so, you know, it's weird. I tend to think that, like, I would say half the album, like, 1/3 of it is just bad, I don't like it at all. The other third is decent, okay, whatever, And then the final third is very good. Like I love listening to the tracks in there. But it's a weird, it's strange. I don't know. Its highs are better than, let's say, 4x4 or something, but that's kind of it. And then we have this, the one I bought most recently is this one, the Full Circle and Vexillology. Most people don't like these albums because they're very, they're sort of minimal. Kind of minimal, I guess. Well, Vexillology, if you've heard that one before, I know some people like it, but most people tend to think it's boring because it's, well, considering I like things like techno and stuff, it's fine. It's fine for me. It's not too complex. It certainly sounds like the sort of roots for where Random Album Title would be, basically. It kind of sounds like, oh, this is what came before, and this is the obvious follow-up. It's become more complex or whatever. But I think it's a good album, in my opinion, but you have to talk to other people. My opinion is not worth much because other people tend to not think this is fantastic. Full Circle is the second one on here. It's in a similar style, more weird, and a lot of people tend to not like it because it's like, oh, this isn't music or something like that. Yet they listen to electronic music and they say these kind of things. I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Really, that's the entire Deadmau5 collection. I know it went on for a while, but that's how it had to be. Well, and that just about wraps up my physical music collection. Maybe I missed something out, but this is everything I could find. And if I ever decide to do this in the future, I don't know how I'm going to get this wide shot, but yeah. See you later, guys.